Have you ever driven toward the Ambassador Bridge and wondered what was once here? Today, you'll see factories, railroads, warehouses, and now one of the largest bridge projects in North America. But hidden beneath all of this is a story that almost nobody tells. This wasn't always an industrial landscape. This was once one of Detroit's most vibrant neighborhoods. A place where thousands of people raised families, built churches, opened businesses, celebrated weddings, and buried loved ones. At its peak, nearly 24,000 people called Delray home. Today, only a small number remain. So what happened? How does an entire neighborhood slowly disappear without most people even noticing? Today, we're walking the streets of Delray to uncover one of the most overlooked chapters in Detroit's history. I'm Chris Hubble, and this is History Loves Company. When people think about Detroit history, they often assume these neighborhoods have always been part of the city. Delray wasn't. Long before Detroit stretched this far southwest, this area was its own community. Originally known as Belgrade, the village was incorporated in 1897 before eventually changing its name to Delray. Just 9 years later, in 1906, Detroit annexed the growing village as the city rapidly expanded during the industrial boom. At the time, it made perfect sense. The Detroit River sat just steps away. Railroads connected every direction. Industry was exploding, and workers needed somewhere to live. That combination would transform Delray into one of the most important working-class neighborhoods in the city. Imagine arriving in America around 1910. You don't speak much English. You have very little money, but you've heard there are jobs in Detroit. You find work in one of the factories. You save enough to buy a modest home. Your children walk to school. Your neighbors come from all over the world. That wasn't just one family story. It was thousands. Delray became home to immigrants from Hungary, Poland, Germany, Italy, Mexico, and many other nations. In fact, it became one of the largest Hungarian communities outside of Europe. Entire blocks reflected the cultures of the families who settled there. Churches became gathering places. Local bakeries served recipes brought across the Atlantic. Neighborhood taverns were filled with workers after long shifts. Children played baseball in empty lots. Families knew one another. This wasn't simply a neighborhood. It was a community. And for decades, it thrived. Of course, none of this happened by accident. Delray existed because of industry. The nearby steel mills, the railroads, the shipping docks, the factories. This part of Detroit became one of the engines that powered America's Industrial Revolution. Everything moved through here. Coal, iron ore, steel, automobiles, manufacturing supplies. Freighters passed on the river. Train whistles echoed day and night. Thousands of people earned honest livings right here. Industry gave Delray purpose, but it also planted the seeds of its decline. The same factories that created jobs needed more space, more rail yards, more warehouses, more smokestacks, more storage, more truck traffic. As industry expanded, neighborhoods began shrinking. Residents dealt with increasing pollution. Noise became constant. The air wasn't as clean as it once had been. Yet many families stayed, because despite everything, this was still home.
This isn't just another real estate platform. This is something different. A place where every property has a story. Search with ease, but discover more than just location and price. Every space comes with context, history, and identity. You don't just see a home, you understand it. Want to sell? Create a listing that stands out by telling what makes your place unique. Save, share, and connect with people who value more than just square footage. We don't just sell homes. We take care of preserving and telling their story. Because every home has a story, let's discover yours. History loves company.
Generation after generation continued living here. Sometimes your family's history is stronger than the challenges surrounding it. Then came one of the biggest changes, Interstate 75. Like many American cities during the mid-20th century, Detroit built highways through established neighborhoods. Entire blocks disappeared. Homes were demolished. Businesses closed. Communities became divided by concrete. For commuters, the interstate represented progress. For Delray, it represented loss. The freeway didn't destroy Delray by itself, but it accelerated changes already underway. The neighborhood became smaller, less connected, and increasingly surrounded by industry. Unlike disasters that happen overnight, Delray faded slowly. One demolition, one expansion project, one vacant home, one closed business, one family moving away, then another, and another. The wastewater treatment facilities expanded. Industrial land continued growing. Environmental concerns increased. Population declined year after year. Many Detroit neighborhoods experienced hardship, but Delray faced something unique. It wasn't simply losing residents, it was literally losing land. The map itself was changing. Imagine watching your neighborhood disappear one block at a time, not because people stopped caring, but because larger forces kept pushing inward. One of the most powerful moments in Delray's history happened in 1975. Residents held a funeral, not for a person, for their neighborhood. Think about that. Imagine caring so deeply about where you live that you organize a funeral because you believe your community is dying. It wasn't meant to be symbolic. It reflected the heartbreak that people genuinely felt. They watched neighbors leave, schools close, businesses disappear. The Delray they knew was slipping away. That funeral has become one of the defining moments in the neighborhood's history, because sometimes a community can grieve while it's still alive. Today, another chapter is being written. Towering above Delray is the Gordie Howe International Bridge. It's an incredible engineering achievement, one that will strengthen trade between the United States and Canada for generations. Millions of people will cross it. Billions of dollars in commerce will move through it. Yet, like so many major infrastructure projects before it, it has reshaped the neighborhood around it. Additional homes were purchased, properties cleared, families relocated. For longtime residents, this wasn't the beginning of change. It was simply the newest chapter in a story more than 100 years in the making. History has a way of repeating itself, especially in places like this. Despite everything, Delray is still here. A few homes remain occupied. Historic churches continue standing. Former residents still tell stories of growing up here. Drive these streets slowly. Look closely. You'll notice pieces of old neighborhood hiding in plain sight. A brick sidewalk, an aging storefront, a mature tree that once shaded a family home. History doesn't disappear all at once. Sometimes it leaves behind small reminders for those willing to look. Standing here today, it's easy to see factories, bridges, railroads, industry. But if you stop for a moment, you can almost imagine something else. Children riding bicycles, church bells ringing, neighbors talking across front porches, families gathering for dinner after a long day at work. Those stories matter just as much as the buildings that remain, because cities aren't defined only by what they build. They're also defined by what they leave behind. Delray wasn't forgotten because it lacked importance. It was forgotten because its disappearance happened slowly, quietly, almost one decision at a time. And maybe that's why it's one of the most important stories in Detroit. It reminds us that progress always has a human side. Every highway, every factory, every bridge changes someone's neighborhood forever. If we don't stop to tell these stories, eventually they're gone too. I'm Chris Hubble, and this has been History Loves Company. If you enjoyed discovering another forgotten chapter of Detroit's past, please consider subscribing. Every week we explore the places, people, and the stories that shaped Michigan and beyond. Because every place has a story. Let's discover yours.